pretty quickly. Somehow the market got saved. I don't want to waste too much time, so we'll start with the VIX, as I think that's like the most clear. Still, we'll go to the week time frame. The idea with the VIX is that we're probably going to push down more. So what we do have here is we have a lower high from that push up. We started in a pretty weak place. It would have been better if we started towards the bottom. Higher chance of us pushing up. I still think this wants to push down. From a technical perspective, I still think the market's going to go up. We'll see what they say with all the Fed stuff tomorrow. It could go either way because of that. But right now, I believe the technicals support the VIX going down, the dollar going down, and the market pushing up. And then we can also see here the main thing, if we wanted to see, if we want to switch, really like switch positions, we're looking for, we could see it with the Fed tomorrow. We'll see. But the main thing is we want to see something start above 102.3 or whatever. Where is it? Yeah, 102.31. That's pretty much where it is now. 102.31. Because we can see right here it's slightly lower now than it's been going down every day. Anyway, so we got this high here, which does beat this, and then it does beat this also as well. Um, but in consideration of this low and this high, we do have technically a lower low and a lower high at this point. So from that perspective, I wouldn't be surprised if it wants to move back down. This looks pretty weak also as well. It's possible it moves up, but it doesn't have to do a lot, right? We really break to here, and then we're facing coming all the way back down to this level here. So I don't doesn't necessarily mean it'll break, but the technicals on the dollar don't look that good either. So it was a close scare with the S&P, as we can see here. On the day time frame, we started somewhat sizably above. We came down, bounced off this area. This really wasn't too surprising whatsoever at all. Pretty ugly start here, especially since I believe it pushed up first, if I remember correctly, and then we pushed down. So this is pretty bearish, but what we're looking for is a start under to really, want to take a bearish position. And then what do we get the next day? We get this, right? So it has arguably one of the most, just a reversal. It's a bullish reversal around this day time frame average. Another kind of example of this I remember is, I don't remember what day, but I remember it was on the day time frame. It reminds me a little bit of this, even though this is even more of a bullish reversal, because we end above and then we start under. So the other one technically didn't start under. And then, right, you can only do so much here. And this was September 12th into here. So we can see this is that bullish reversal. And that was on the VIX. So that was when we had this, right? That was the 12th. And then, boom, everything really just started to push down. So the S&P really got lucky there. I believe the S&P was only one of the only ones that really showed something as strong as this. If we look at the Nasdaq, we could see why it would get pushed up if it had any sort of help. Just because, like what we were talking about last time, right? If we break through this area, most likely we're going to push down into this. Whatever, we'll just do this. So it's a little more clear. We'll push down into this level right here. So that's what it did, and then it pushed back up. Um, I don't think this inherently looked good on its own. I think a lot of this had to do with the S&P, in my opinion. Um, because if we look at like the other Nasdaq, a little bit more data on this one. Let's get rid of this. Get rid of this. I mean, there's definitely. I take the weighted spots through here. We could also kind of, we want style, do something like that. So I prefer to take the weighted areas from here through here. We treat this as an extension. Excuse me. So we can see this looks pretty nice here. Boom, boom. We treat this as an extension above. We can even get almost a bounce here on it. And then boom. Looks pretty nice for what it is. Doesn't have to be perfect. So, it's like a caution point, caution point. So there's not really a whole bunch on the NASDAQ itself, in my opinion, to say, oh, it should get pushed up. Even if we look around this area, to me, it seems as if I don't know if it'll show anything, but for me, it looks like the bounce spot should have been a little bit lower. Um, yeah, I don't know if I'm even gonna get it on this, but yeah, because it's like an index or maybe if I adjust it, I don't really care. But it does look like it should be instead of bouncing here, it looked like it would have been better to bounce somewhere around like here, maybe somewhere like right here. These areas look a lot stronger if it was going to bounce anywhere. So I think a lot of today had to do with the S&P itself. And the nice thing about that is for the Amazon play, that has looked really nice also. So we'll see. There's a lot of things that look really strong. This Amazon play still looks really strong coming back down into this 99.54 range. Now we're at 103.13. So if we do get some bullishness, this easily pushes to 107 tomorrow or the day after. I could easily see it tomorrow, depending on if like the Fed stuff's really like a nothing burger or as expected, depending on what they say for their like forward guidance, I guess. In that sense, then one second. Then I could easily see this pushing up quite a bit, easily into the like I said, this 107 area, and continuing into the to until 113, maybe before it sees a little bit of coming down. Maybe a little bit of extension to 117 for a lower high that pushes right into with the main base here that kind of just extends up into here and then turns back around for support and fighting in this area. So we'll see. That looks pretty nice for what it is. Fun is also one that I'm playing. I got out of Mara the other day at the what was it? Yeah, I was gonna say like what? This wasn't yesterday. I got out a little bit at 760, and then the rest are like seven. It was like 738, 740. Because thing it just looks sketchy. I still have belief in Bitcoin. It's just Mara looked a lot sketchier to me. Um, and it's like so bought up. So I took a lot of that and I put a decent amount of what I had in there in the fund. So we'll kind of see what happens here. I think this looks pretty nice, at least for like a 25 per. I don't know why I only have it till there. Maybe there was some sort of average. I don't really remember why, to be honest. Oh, there should be something should be up here. Yeah, so we have like the 4 hour here. So we'll kind of see. We have it looks pretty assured for like 25% gain, and it could even go all the way up to like 36. We've seen this in the past. Boom, boom. I don't know if it's done it before, but this looks pretty nice. Boom. Um, it's okay. I don't want to say like here, but I mean you can just see the range is pretty. It's a pretty good range for it, so it's not unheard of. So anything else? It's probably gonna be a shorter video at this point. I think everything else just kind of went with it. Nvidia still looks bad on the week time frame. It is nice that it got sold down so much. This candle looks okay. I'd excuse me. I still don't think it's really safe to play this range. I still think this is the range and then this is the range. So I still think this was a weak start for Nvidia. And one of the few things that made sense to short at the beginning of the week. Um, same thing with Tesla, I believe, but on the day time frame. So we pushed under and we started under. I think today was not really a day to buy Tesla. Like someone could have bought it, and I get that. And if someone asked me, like based on the S&P, well, actually, I mean, I would say technically the S&P was, if I do remember, it was yesterday. Um, no, it was today. Okay, I don't know why I'm getting confused. Maybe I was looking at it on the 4 hour a second ago, so I was like, wait a sec, what? But yeah, based on the S&P, I could see buying Tesla up uh, today, yesterday, whatever you want to call it, on this candle. But it's still one of those things where it's like the S&P looks nice, but you're relying, in my opinion, you're really relying on that to push up through what doesn't look good on Tesla's chart. So we'll see. I mean, if it comes back into this range, it's a little bit lower here now. We're gonna be like down to here. Then, can play this range possibly. Still not a huge fan of this, and we'll really just have to see which way things go. Um, but yeah, I don't think we bounce here anymore. If it does, like, if this comes back under, I'm pretty sure instead of like to here, the range is actually all the way back down to 153. That's what I feel like when I look at it right now. That's what it seems to be. Mm, mm, mm. Foot Locker's something to look out for. Foot Locker could still be pretty good. Might take another week. We'll really have to see what happens. It's like a worse, in my opinion, it's a worse. It's a worse Amazon, more or less. So we get bought way up, way too far up. So it's not really that surprising this came down because we look from a week time frame. We have a bulk of this week that's up here. We could say like half a week, 2.5 weeks, and then maybe like I don't remember specifically. I wasn't looking. I don't look at Foot Locker every day. But long story short, we have a lot. We have at least like 20 days above this until we actually come back down and touch the area. So that's not too surprising. Here we start nice, pushes up. This is a pretty sketchy for what it is, but this is also the new year when things look pretty good. So this looked nice down here. This is okay for what it is. But I still think in the same sense this is a decent pickup spot at this 43, and then to the bottom side is where I would flip bearish for this. I don't think there's anything really to say for IBM. I think IBM still looks pretty weak. It'll be interesting to see if it can reverse and start back up here. There's definitely a lot that this thing has to contend with back up here, though. So, not really. Honestly, I'm really not a big fan of IBM. Maybe if it comes back down to 127 or 123, depending what everything else is doing, I could see this being a pretty good pickup. But it's a little bit sketch where it is right now. Maybe if it flips here and then it plays to the top side of 139, 25, could be pretty decent. But it's just one of those things that's a little sketchy to me for what it's doing. So, and it's one of those things where you don't usually trade it really. You get 5% dividend every year. So what's the point? You don't why you never trade something that gives 5% dividend. It makes zero cents. It's really just something that you only add on to. Um, I don't think there's much to really say about natural gas per se, to be honest. I mean, if it does come back up, it can come all the way back up to 3.9, but it's going to be quite a bit of a ride. Yeah, 3.9 is where everything's at. It's just after something like this, it's like, yikes. I would just avoid it. Da, da, da. And I guess Carvana got a pretty nice start 2 days ago. Got a nice, I mean, you can just clearly see. I mean, this is one of the old highs. I think there was something else right than that right there, but maybe not. It was wrong. No, I guess not. But we could see, my bad, not the old highs, but the old low, the base point of it. We see right here. There's something on the shorter term that made me want to take this instead of like down here, but it really doesn't matter too much. So we can see from there, and then right, same thing. Boom, 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 boom. And when you start on top of it, there's not really a lot you can do. It makes more sense to get out of your position. That's why I believe a lot of these things push up more so than get sold right back down, is because I mean if you're shorting here and you haven't exited your position, like it's now literally on the top side of what you were shorting at. Or it started on the top side. Like what do you know what I mean? Not a lot you can really do. Um anyway, we'll just put that out. So at the end of the day, we'll just do a summary. Same thing as before. If we want to see this if we want to see a a reversal that might be able to do something, which it will be highly contested at 103.6 anyway. But if we want to see a movement from here that might bring the market down a bit, we're gonna need, in my opinion, we're gonna need to see it start above 102.31 on the day time frame. We need to be careful in seeing what happens with the Fed stuff tomorrow. A lot of stuff has gotten pretty fortunate with the starts. Like this is a strong start with Apple. We can see it ranging all the way back up to here. A lot of what happened, in my opinion, is the reversal on the S&P. We pushed down, ended under. We started right back above. So there's only really you don't really have a choice here. So it just kind of is what it is. And then the VIX itself, still believe this is going to come down. So long story short, I'm still bullish on stuff. I think Fun looks really good. PHUN. I think AMZN. Amazon looks pretty good. Carvana could push up a little bit more. Today was a little bit of a sketchy day for it. But the range on Carvana is quite a bit higher. But the entry point was, I believe, yesterday, or not like yesterday. It was one candle ago, not on the current candle, before today's open. And I believe those are my picks more or less for now. Let me just go through more time. Yeah, I don't like Nvidia specifically. Not a big fan of Tesla specifically either. I mean, I would say, I guess, the one final thing I could end it on, Mara could still be pretty nice, all things considered. To me, it just kind of depends. So we ended down here. We started down here. I might play it again if we can start above this 730 spot. If we open above there tomorrow, um, I do think it's a pretty nice spot for what it is, and we've been having a decent amount of pressure around here. So if we can start above, as we can just kind of even see here. So if we can start above here tomorrow, I might consider getting back in. I would like to, but we'll see. It's with if everything else lines up. Like I said before, those were my top picks. We'll see what happens with the Fed stuff, and take care, y'all.